Warning, this video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest in capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I'm going to be asking myself the same questions I've been asking myself over and over and over again. And those are we going to get some cycle lows show up this week, as has been expected for some time? I'm also going to be finding out if Bitcoin is ready to put in a Dalai Lama pattern. For anyone that is unfamiliar with the term Dalai Lama, it originates from this old Bitcoin meme where somebody had obviously edited in the Dalai Lama reacting to this mu pattern, Greek letter mu. So here it is, more or less, right? We had the plunge down. Are we looking to do something like this? Dalai Lama our way out of here for Bitcoin. This would also be right around the time we'd expect to see a half cycle low. And as I've been saying for a while, you know, someone was saying, oh, Camel, you just repeat yourself over and over again. Yeah, you're right, I do. Because nothing has really changed, right? Nothing has really changed. We're still hunting for cycle lows. And as always, when we get to cycle lows, I say the same thing over and over again, in that cycle lows serve to flush and reset the sentiment ready for the next leg higher. And so taking a look at the fear and greed index, okay, we have come down significantly from, I think we were either just this side of extreme greed or we were either very high in greed. So we've pretty much done it, right? We've pretty much reset the fear. Have we got a little bit more to push first before we can actually find the cycle low? That's to be determined. But rather than keep repeating myself over and over again, oh, we did it. 1 million views. Let's go. What was I saying? Yeah, rather than repeat myself over and over again, I thought I would just play you a clip of me repeating myself over and over again. A decline in inflation, then we would probably expect the stock market to go up. The cycles, however, are all saying that we probably go down across the board. So we're seeing this for the S&P 500. We're due a cycle low somewhere around the 19th, if I've got the count correct. We're also due a gold cycle low somewhere around the 22nd. And interestingly enough, Bitcoin's half cycle low also happens to be right around the 20th. So from a cycle count perspective, this implies, to me personally, based on my experience of trading cycles, that we're either going to get a hot CPI print or at least a pullback over the next 2 weeks, perhaps even a negative reaction to a sticky print or even a cold print, right? The cycles say that the market's going to find a narrative to append to a dip that is going to continue to play out over the next couple of weeks until we get to these sort of 20th neighborhood of this month. And then based on my cycle experience, based on the cycle counts that I have here, I would think something occurs somewhere around these dates that makes all three bottom on the same day. So again, it's funny because every dip has its narrative, right? The cycle lows serve to flush the sentiment, and it doesn't matter what the news is. The market will interpret it as bullish or bearish, depending on what the cycles say. But like I say, the cycles are telling us to expect a bit of downside for a week or two, and that something is going to occur to make all three of these bottom right around the same time. So it's going to be... So there you go. And as I'm watching this, I'm wondering, should I just make one video a week? No, in all seriousness, so every dip has its narrative, as I said, right? We've got our narrative. I think our narrative, you know, we've made that pretty clear over the last couple of videos. We are in that neighborhood to see some cycle lows. And like I said, we're going to be looking for a catalyst that I suspect causes something to force the bottom in all three of these on the same day, right? I'm looking for some, you know, the sentiment to be reset, the leverage to be flushed, everyone to be really worried. And then once all of that is dealt with, some change of news should show up, right? We should get someone come out and say, oh, here we go. Printer is coming back or something like that, and that will let the markets go, okay, let's stop panicking, let's stop selling, and let's start buying. That's typically how cycle lows are formed. So with that said, it begs the question, doesn't it? What is it going to be that forces this cycle low? I know some people are speculating it might be the Bitcoin halving, but I'm not sure why that would force a bottom in gold and the stock market. So it's probably not going to be the halving. As it stands currently, we are just under 4 days away from the halving, right? As you can see right here. So the halving is coming up, but like I said, I don't think that forces the lows in the stock market and gold. We do have some housing data coming out today, okay? So that will be interesting. But again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that is going to be enough to bottom the market. However, perhaps Powell, when he speaks, could say something that gives markets a sigh of relief. It could also be that we've got liquidity incoming as the RRP drops over 80 billion to new lows. So are they about to print? Are they about to try to top this thing back up? Are they going to use this liquidity to try to force a cycle low in the markets? Perhaps if that doesn't work, this Coinbase commercial will.
Over time, your money gets you less. Does Bitcoin? Well, in 2012, one Bitcoin bought you this much pizza. In 2016, this much pizza. In 2020, this much pizza. And in 2024, well, you get the gist. Roughly every 4 years, the future supply of Bitcoin is reduced. So historically, you get more, not less.
And of course, if all of that doesn't do it, then maybe, just maybe, we can see the purple tie alpha come out once again. Maybe purple tie means we pump. Let's hope it's not a blue tie, right? But if it is, of course, we know how to deal with that in real time, as always. And so heading into the charts, it seems to me like we are still pretty much chopping around sideways, thinking about doing one of these 60-day consolidation cycles. As I was saying in that cycle low video, right? Bitcoin has got a half cycle low due around any day now, right? Any time in here, this would probably be working on a half cycle low. Now, it doesn't mean we can't do this out of here. We certainly could. But in my experience, when we find a cycle low and then chop, by the time we get halfway through a cycle, if we haven't broken out, Bitcoin likes to do this. It likes to come into a cycle low and then fire off out. That's what it likes to do. The fact that we came in and then chopped around for a whole month tells me that we're not going to do this, most probably. And in fact, what we are going to do is continue to chop around and find some cycle lows in another 30 days. So that's kind of interesting to me. Like I said, maybe if there's some catalyst that can force a bottom, then we will see this. But personally, I don't really think that's the base case at the moment for Bitcoin. I think we've probably got some more chopping to do. The dollar, as I've been saying, hard for me not to be bullish on the XY at the moment because of the setup, because of the breakout, and it's continuing to move higher. So that is normal and to be expected following a breakout, of course. And gold, we are looking for a decline into a cycle low. So somewhere, like I said, in this neighborhood, somewhere around the 22nd-ish would be kind of normal. We could see one slightly earlier, perhaps. So I think that is probably the top, this wick here, and I think we have probably started to decline. It just doesn't look like it yet. And I do think once we get to a cycle low, wherever it forms, it'll be looking to move stops up and increase exposure. The housing market short is finally starting to move down, okay? So it's been a long time. It's been a lot of chop, not a lot of action, not a lot has happened. But it certainly seems like perhaps if we get that bad data come out today, perhaps if this data is bad, then we could see this thing start to accelerate to the downside. I've had that fractal on the housing market, haven't I, for a long time. This is from the GFC. So the setup under the hood's not quite the same, but it's not too dissimilar. It's not as dissimilar as you might think it is. So anyway, we're going to find out, right? We're going to find out. We'll keep pushing that. And the stock market, again, I'm repeating myself, but what else is there to say? We have got the normal and to be expected decline into the cycle lows, right? We haven't yet found one. We haven't yet confirmed one. I was talking about a few situations, or rather 2 situations, wasn't I, a little while ago? And I was saying that best case scenario, we would get this big plunge, right? A nice sharp V, and then we would be able to zoom out and mark that as the weekly cycle low. I said that would be the best scenario because, that would be a clear sign of a weekly cycle low. If we get a nice plunge and a V out of here, it'd be nice and easy to catch that swing. So we get this nice sharp plunge, something like this. It'd be nice and easy to catch a swing somewhere in here, right? And then look to have this trade out of here. That'd be quite a nice setup, I think, if we can get it. And at the moment, that kind of seems to be what is setting up. But I was also saying that there's always a chance we don't get that and we get a more orderly walk down. And whilst that would still be a playable bounce, right? Some kind of walk down like this, cycle low, and then a reverse, okay? There's always the possibility, if this is the setup, and it's not a big plunge with a V, that we might have to entertain another daily cycle of 40 days into that next weekly cycle low. So I hope that what we get is a little bit more of a plunge, a little bit more of a V, and then I can have confidence saying, yep, that's the weekly cycle, happy days. But there is always the possibility that we've gone 1, 2, 3, and we need to have a 4th daily cycle that forms the weekly cycle. In terms of time, enough weeks have elapsed, right? This is plenty of weeks. This is 20-something weeks. This would be 25 weeks. So this would be right around average, right? 25, 26 weeks, something like that. But there's always a possibility that we have to go slightly later, have another, 4 or 5 weeks into a slightly later but still legal and qualifying weekly cycle low. So again, not really saying anything different, still hoping to see a bit more of a plunge, right? The deeper this goes, the more confidence I can have that that is enough, right? That's enough of a reset of sentiment, particularly with the narratives that are out there at the moment. Something like this would be a gift in my opinion, right? It'd be quite easy to deal with, get a little bit more panic, a little bit of a flush, backtest that green level, which is the prior all-time high. And then I think, we could set that would be our second angle, as I've been saying over and over again, right? Something like this, and we would be looking for that third and final blow off top angle to come in the not too distant future. So I think this would be very, very normal. I think this would be very, very healthy. I think this would be actually quite easy to deal with relative to, you know, if we kind of chop around sideways from here, because then, like I said, we have to entertain the possibility that we need another daily cycle before we got the weekly cycle. Obviously, that doesn't fit my overall idea that we're going to enter the insane portion of this rally. That would kind of be starting to look like I'm invalidated, or at least we've got to push the goalpost back a little bit. So I don't want that. If we get this V, right, like I've got in yellow illustrated here, if we get that, we can get along somewhere down here, and then I'll be looking for bananas mode to come in, and all of that will be happy days for me. So for now though, you know, we're not, as always with cycle lows, I'm not trying to go stabbing in the dark, right? I am not just going to be trying to guess in here like, oh yeah, that's probably the cycle low, I'll just buy, because it's been 38 days, so I'll just buy here, okay? Because there is nothing to say that we don't get some kind of panic sell-off flush out before we go, okay? Plus, I could always be wrong on my idea completely, okay? Maybe that is actually the top, and what comes next is something like this, okay? So definitely not just going to be stabbing in the dark, jumping in front of trains. As usual, all of the rules apply, okay? Looking for a swing, looking for confirmation, looking for a trend line break. And once we got something like that, something that I can have confidence and a good area on the chart to manage the risk around, then I will be looking to add the position. But as you can see for now, right, saying the same things over and over again, nothing is really different, waiting for those cycle lows to show up. We're getting into that timing window. It's the 16th today, you know, somewhere between the 19th and the 20th, or 22nd, somewhere in that neighborhood would be about right. So tells me that a little bit more downside, a little bit more chop, a little bit more volatility. And then I suspect coming into next week, or probably by the end of this week, I suspect I've got a bunch more positions by the end of this week than I had at the start. So same for the NASDAQ, right? Same for the Dow Jones, looking to set some kind of second angle, perhaps a back test of the prior all-time high. Dow Jones is getting close, so I like that. What about the NASDAQ? Where's the NASDAQ? NASDAQ's got a way to go, probably not going to do it. Russell 2K, yeah, chopping around. Like I said, we'll keep pushing that. I don't really mind giving some of this back. So as you can see, not a great deal is different, not a great deal has changed, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get some lows in the not too distant future. If you're a level 3 member, of course, I will notify you in real time as I take these positions. For everyone else, I will continue to post about 6 videos a week. So look out for those. And until next time, I hope you're doing well in life. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.